time in Kansas, and it's really lovely. I'm grateful to be here, and I thank you for your warm welcome to me during Saturday's afternoon and last night and this morning as well. It is our Father's world, and just being outside and watching all of you come together again and to lean in and listen to where God's presence is in the relationships among you and outdoors as well. It's no wonder to me that we gather in the camps. America has a history of camps, and we have a history of camps here at Mennoscah, did I say that right? Mennoscah Camp and Almont and some of our Canadian camps. And Mr. Beard, his name was Daniel Carter Beard. He was a Swedenborgian, and he was the great-grandson of Reverend Curtis in Ohio, and he started the Boy Scouts in America. And then he convinced his sister to create Campfire Girls. So we have a history of camps and enjoying nature and leaning in and listening, which is really the meaning of the root word obey, to lean in and listen to the Lord. And it's a beauty to be here and to hear your voices coming together. I heard so much about tradition and coming back to basics and really appreciating the beauty of family and friendships and fellowship and getting connected to one another again, listening to how you met and how you came into relationship with the church, with one another, and to listen to the history and the heritage and the rich respect and love you have for the writings that bring us together, and your deep study. I think Kansas and the two churches here in this area are holding some kind of beautiful light and love for our tradition, and it's really beautiful to see, and also how you give that out. And it's remarkable to see how you come over distance, you transcend time, you've transcended generations, as Allison remarked, and the healing that takes place, the retreat, the respite that comes when you come together in a place like this, and forgiveness, and just the peace that comes, as we discussed in our morning class this morning, the renewed strength that comes, and giving thanks for the beauty and the blessings. And in the readings today, I heard figs and pomegranates and all the fruits that come from the blessings when we bring our hearts and our minds together in action. And I love what Allison's created with the children's gifts, the world, and how we've reached out and tried to make a difference with our teachings that we have and the transformations that we make in our daily lives when we come into contact with nature and one another and the writings, and try to live them and make them practical in daily life. And the dry branch there, and the collected fruits, and the flowers and the leaves that are in between. I was looking at the stick. We went and got kindling. All the children marched out and got kindling for the fire last night. And I started thinking about the dry branches that we see that appear to be dead. But in the spring, when they come and renew themselves, and a leaf sprouts out of them, and then more young branches, and then buds and flowers. And I got to thinking that in the barren places of our lives, in the dryness, or maybe even the sadness as we talked about today, or the worries, we have to imagine that we have an inner leaf and a branch about to sprout, and a bud and a flower about to open. Thought about how the leaf has an inner flower, and the flower actually has an inner fruit, and then the fruit has inner seeds for more growth and more spreading of what is good. So it's a beautiful contemplation when we can draw those spiritual lessons from nature and bring them into life and bring them into fruition. I began to think about the bread and the wine we'll share today in our Holy Supper, our communion, and thinking about the table that Moses prepared and the showbread and the candlesticks that had the pomegranates up above. And I thought, well, why do they have the pomegranates up above? And I know it's supposed to be memory knowledges and facts that we come into contact with, but more so that those things are the natural container for all the good that might come. And I thought about the way we open up a pomegranate. It has so many seeds in it. And it's like the uses that we can bring to life out of all the things that we know. As Jane was talking about how if we can know a lot of things, but if we don't use them, if we don't bring them to charity, if we don't bring them to uses, they're as if they are nothing. And so that pomegranate for me, and I think the way they were lifting it up on the showbread table is an understanding that we have to make all those things come to fruition in life. And it's hard to get those seeds out. It's quite a chore to have to peel a pomegranate. But there are so many of them that in some traditions they give them as a gift of the new year, that it's an acknowledgement and a recognition that there are many gifts and uses and things to do throughout the year that bring our lives and our truths and our good to fruition. And just thinking about the showbread table, it's a wooden table, and so it sort of brings it full circle to that wood was a tree that has an inner leaf, that has an inner bud and an inner flower and then an inner fruit. And I think that is not an accident. It is the contemplation of the table that we were all welcome at, and the Lord's presence with us. And as we go to the table, I hope that we can contemplate that we don't have to solve all our problems at once. We don't have to fix everything about us. Just to pick one small thing, because the Lord is one. He's holistic and heals everything else around what we might choose to work on and contemplate and bring to the table. And thinking of the innocence of the children that are present with us this weekend, and how we can all be brought to innocence again. This is the Lord's goal. This is one of His beautiful qualities. His innocence itself. And if we think of innocence as a willingness to remain teachable and a willingness to be led by what is good and true, then we can all become a restored state of innocence around our concerns. And we've been richly endowed with the skills and the means to do it. I began thinking about the children and the smaller ones, the infants, and how at birth we're given 3 beautiful gifts by the Lord. And one is the desire to seek after what is true. And we can see it in children who like to play peekaboo. I watched that with the youngest one, someone playing peekaboo. And then we like to search for hidden things, and we like to play hide and seek with one another. And then as we get older, we like mystery novels, and we like to go out and search for new opportunity, adventure, and travel, and just seeking lifelong knowledge. And this is so that we might search after and find God. And so everything in nature and in our bodies is literally so that we might have salvation from Him. And so the second gift I saw as the delight in what is good. And the first thing that we love are sweet things and soft, beautiful sensations. Mother's milk, sweet things. Afterwards, we love to smell beautiful fragrances and all the things of the first states of our senses, the soft, beautiful things. And then the third thing, the Lord never leaves it just in our hearts and our minds. He really does want us to move our things into action. And so we are given the third gift at birth, and that is a delight and a desire for movement. And so the first thing a baby loves is to be rocked and swayed and to be strolled, or maybe even driven around at night so they can fall asleep. And to ride bikes and to go faster and faster. It's a bicycle and then a boat or a car. Skiing. But we do love to move, to swing and to swirl. We were talking about twirling around. And these things are good for us so that we might finally bring our inner leaf and our inner bud and our flowers to fruition in life. So may we take our concerns and our desire to seek after what is good and true and to put it into life to the table today.
This morning, let us give of ourselves, our gifts, and make an offering to the work of the Lord's church. This will go to Kansas Association.